Hey everybody. So we're back for the season finale of Love After Lockup. Um, so first I just want to say thank you once again to everybody for liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, for watching the videos. And if you're watching this, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as I continue to grow my channel. Um, so yes, I hope all of you had a happy Thanksgiving. Mine was meh, okay, because I got a ghetto ass cousin that acts like Renika. Anyway, okay, so Love After Lockup. All right, The Reckoning, season 6, episode 11, and because I'm not doing it separately, season 6, episode 12, Onion of Lies. Onion of Lives. Yeah. Anyway, so Sheree and Anthony, we'll start with them, get into a fight, and not like an argument fight alone. She found out he was talking to other women. So she said he tried to take her phone. She finds out he's talking to other women. He tried to take her phone. Okay. And she said, I thought that was a bitch move. It was. It was, Sheree. You're not wrong for that. And he bit her in the back after throwing her phone, this, that, and the other, get mad. All of those behaviors are associated with abusive men. And I told y'all something that sit right with me with Anthony from the gate when he was talking from jail about how he was going to get her baby daddy together, about how to raise his son. Motherfucker, you in jail. Let's go and address that. And I'm not suggesting that everybody in jail is automatically a criminal. People do get locked up when they haven't done anything. But Anthony, you had already admitted you done something. Anyway, so she called his mother to come and get his stuff. She kicked him out. She called the police. She said she decided not to press charges though because he would go straight back to prison, and she never wanted to do that to anybody. I understand where she's coming from. I do. Because like I said, I don't think there is a black person in this country, whether they act like it or not, whether they say it out loud or not, who is not 2 degrees of separation from somebody who has gone to jail or has been in prison. And it's a terrible fucking place to be. Okay? Anyway, and so I get that, but also I'm at least glad that she was talking about it on TV to maybe warn other women about him. You know, whatever. So she calls his mother to get his stuff. She kicked him out and said that she was grateful that her son Rich wasn't there. I was too, because that would have traumatized that boy bad. The mother, Sharice, she called her son out, and she was like not playing around. And she said to Sheree, despite all their back and forth, that she was proud of her and was like, she has to do what she has to do for herself. And I'm going to be honest, I actually do appreciate women. This is the first time I've appreciated Sharice this whole time. But I appreciate women who are honest in whatever shape, way, or form they choose to be. That they have seen men do that kind of thing and not act like their son would never do it. You can still love your child, and the way you love a kid, all you gentle parenters out there, does not mean you never correct people and challenge them. And I appreciate the fact that she wasn't trying to say, you hurt my son, this, that, and the other, you did this, you did that. Because Sheree could have easily pressed charges, and I'm sure she's grateful. So she said, I signed him up for anger management classes. She was like, and he's going to take them classes. I said, oh, shit. Okay, and that's kind of just tip of the iceberg. Because whatever makes you think you can control and abuse women, you got some problems. Okay, now Sheree, I'm happy you kicked him out and told your story. Like I said, because somebody watching this may get caught up with him, but you know some people think they can change a motherfucker and will try anyway, or don't watch the show. But girl, you tried. And I understand her trying to spare him a prison time. But this whole, I pray that God changes his heart and she can't predict the future. Girl, don't go back to that. Don't go back to that. Now, even people who go back to a man that cheats, and that we can all talk about how that's a form of emotional abuse, this, that, and the other. There are men that we've seen that can change. And some people who are just completely selfish. But domestic violence, too often, regardless of race or class or anything else, religious beliefs, it does not matter, often end up in death. And those kind of men get off on women forgiving them and then hurting them more. Please don't go back to that. Okay? Um, and the same thing I'm gonna say to Joy Know Me, I'm gonna say to you. Even if it takes you in private for years to get over him, nobody can tell you when to get over something like that. A heartbreak, an abusive situation. I can't stand people. You need to get over it by now. You ain't never been through a goddamn thing. That's why you think you can say that. Or you've always had people there to cater to you emotionally, so you don't know what it is to have to go through something by yourself. Even if it takes you years to get over it, Sheree, okay, in private, you ain't gotta let everybody know you don't want to know. But take your time and grieve that relationship, but don't go back. Please, baby girl, don't go back. And him keeping in contact with you is another form of control. Don't just, you got to cut that off. It only gets worse. And you did the right thing. And men need to do better. All right. I would have just been okay with a little blurb at the end with Asante and Renika. And so I'm just going to deal with them, Asante, Renika, and others, because there was a whole lot of others in this. So Renika has gotten a house, which is good. I guess she has found good work, because she has a little house for her and her family. She decided to stay in Atlanta. I guess she still thinks she's going to be a rap star. Okay. So her and her daughters are about to have a party because the family is coming or whatever. Then Asante apparently has his own house and has been working. At least that's what he told us from his car as he was traveling to see his girlfriend at her house. Maybe he considers her house his house. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because Asante, God rest his soul, you don't be telling the truth. Anyway, okay, so then he goes to visit his girlfriend or one of them. Her name is Keita. Okay, we don't care. He brings her roses, probably with some of the chick's money, even though he claimed he'd been working and he got a house. I don't believe it. So the producer asked about, well, whatever happened to Auntie? And he said he just talked to her this morning, but they're friends. I was like, bruh. I tell you what, Auntie wasn't dumb enough to appear on camera. Shit, that's what I mean when I talk about, just grieving relationships in private. Even if you make mistakes, everybody don't need to know. Certainly not as it's happening. It's kind of like a friend who was in a bad relationship, and I just got to a point where I was like, stop asking me for advice when you know you don't want to hear what I have to say. Now, if you need me to listen, which I've grown to mature into, because at that time I was not mature enough to do that. I was just like, because a domestic violence situation. And I was more scared for her than anything else. But that's not the purpose of this. So then Renika is at their cookout. And her family came to see her, which I thought was nice. Okay? That bitch was still in front of her family. I don't give a fuck about no Hennessy, no nothing. At the cookout talking about how Asante is still her baby. She loves him and will ride for him. Why, bitch? Y'all was only dating 11 months. Let's go ahead and also put that in perspective. 11 months over the phone while he was in jail, bored. Miss me. Just miss me with it. And her sister was like, huh? She was like, I'm confused. And I said, we all are. But sis been on it since we met her. Okay? Since Love during Lockup. So Renika starts that ghetto hood rat shit with Asante, telling him she misses him and stuff, despite the fact that she hasn't seen him in months. Girl, please. Okay, so she said, well, what about Auntie, that bitch that was doing everything for you? That bitch had sense enough not to put her family and her kids on TV. All right, so he said, I have a new girl. And the bitch says, yeah, right. I was like, girl. Like, she didn't believe it. She felt, I was like, yo, Renika, you are a special kind of bird brain bitch. Like, he does. We saw it on camera. All right. So he basically calls her because they're shooting the show. We can see that. That Renika set him up with the money to help put him on. Whether she was trying to get her rap career started or not, she could have gotten on other shows. You know she crazy enough to be on other shows. But he got some money in his pocket and she did too. It is what it is. So she was like, do you realize that you'll never find another bitch that loves you like I do? First of all, ma'am, I want you as a grown woman, as a teenager, as a girl, to not refer to yourself as a bitch. And I know I use that word, but I'm using that word with other people. I use it for fun, and I know it ain't right. But when I hear women refer to themselves, especially perpetually, as a bitch, that is learned behavior that needs to be unlearned. Because the whole point is the word has been weaponized and used to degrade women perpetually, especially by men and by other women. And I feel the same way about the N word. I don't like people saying, "Yeah, I'm that." Da da da. Like when people refer to themselves like that, that to me acknowledges a belief about oneself that is unhealthy. And if you think I'm just talking on the side of my neck, you don't even have to read the whole book, but go read the intro of The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, My Dungeon Shook. Okay, his letter to his nephew. Anyway, so I was like, you ain't gonna never find another bitch that loves you like I do. Y'all dated for 11 months over the phone. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He apologized. He was like, I apologize. So it was half-assed, but whatever. At least the words came out of his mouth. Then he asked her to come and spend the night with him. And she starts laughing and acting like a dumb bird. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't stand you. She acted like my ghetto-ass cousin that tried to ruin Thanksgiving dinner. And essentially did like she always does in her ghetto-ass, her rat ways, yelling and da-da-da-da over this and this. You need to worry about all this shit you got going on. And why you about to be 50 moving back in with your mama. Okay? Child. Whew. Moving on. So then he starts flirting with her over the phone outside of his girlfriend's house. Like I said, these kind of men, like Asante, had these kind of habits. That is so disrespectful. And granted, when he said I was going outside to talk, I think the reason why she didn't trip is probably because them damn cameras was in her house and she just figured that's part of the show. Asante, you ain't shit based on the show. And so, but rest in peace. Okay. Brittany and Keurig. Brittany is mad at Keurig for not wanting a family or appearing to not want a family. She's upset, she's crying. Keurig is saying out loud that he's not sure he wants to have a child. That's an honest answer, even though I don't rock with Keurig because I think Keurig is controlling. But for Keurig to say, look, we need to compromise, and here we go, but you have to promise not to bring it up anymore. Keurig, that's not a compromise, okay? You need to give her something. Like, we're going to table this discussion until at least a year from now when I plan to be much more stable and focused. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give her something because she has been really supportive, but she need to go back to beauty school. All right. So do I think they need to have a kid? No. But he obviously told her that at some point, and she got that impression, and then he got out and changed his mind. Now, granted, he got out, and as far as I'm concerned, found his mind in that regard. But they're not ready. They're not ready. And she's like, we're not a normal couple. So I do understand what she means. She's like, I'm not trying to have one right now, but we're not a normal couple. He's like, what's not normal about us? Cure it. Cure it. Cure it. I support your transition, your hormonal treatments, but the fact that you have to transition biologically into developing male hormones and things like that, and testosterone, like, don't act like you can just stick your dick inside of her, okay, and she get pregnant. That's what she needs. Cut it, okay. Anyway, so we get to go see Keurig, though, in a different light. They go to see his brother's gravesite. His brother was in the street, he said, and he gave his life to God and, fixed his life. He said, but they also found out that he was also schizophrenic. And he walked from Richmond, Virginia to Alton, Ohio, and in the process got hit by a train. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I really feel for them and their family. Because losing a sibling, even if you don't even talk to them every single day like you did as kids, I mean, that's part of who you are. You grow up with that. That's part of who you are, and you lose that piece of yourself until you transition. So y'all, mental health takes its toll, and not only on the person it's happening to, but to the family that has to kind of go through it with them. And it's not as simple as telling people just go to therapy. It's not, and I'm telling you that as a person who goes to therapy every week. I'm committed to that. But there are things and certain kinds of diseases of the mind, if you will, that people have to go and get the kind of treatment for. And going through therapy is not enough because they have to be medicated and understanding they have a problem. And that's why you have to have compassion. on people. And I think about that every time I'm on the train, because I'll never forget this man I worked with, and he was talking, we were just talking about racists on our jobs and things like that, and how they were talking about DEI. You know how I feel about that. If you don't, it's bullshit. But anyway, and he was like, no, people need to ask themselves, when you see that person who's out of their mind, who's broken on the train, you think they were always that way? Something happened to them, and that has stuck with me. And it wasn't that I didn't have compassion before, but I wasn't thinking that deeply about it. I was taught to always, if you have money, give it, to somebody who's homeless. It doesn't matter what they do with it. It really doesn't. And I still take that attitude to this day. And so when you hear stories like this, it should really humanize those people. I'm not saying don't protect yourself, don't keep yourself safe. This is somebody who goes on New York subway every morning, every evening, okay? But I'm just saying, people weren't always that way, And when you see it this way, it helps bring a little closer to home. So here's somebody that we can hurry up, talk about, and skip. All right, we should have skipped, but nevertheless, Louis and Melissa. Louis is going to get his teeth pulled so he can get his teeth replaced. Okay, teeth have been, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most painful surgeries you can have. Okay, he got his implants. He has big dentures. He's in a lot of pain. His teeth are bigger than normal. And whenever you get your teeth replaced, if they're not, it takes a second for one of them to settle in. For the doctor, 2-3 weeks, sometimes even a month. Then you go back to have them readjusted for the size of your mouth. They can't always predict how it's going to look, because whatever's happened to your mouth based on your teeth you've had your whole life, it has to readjust. So I understand your face looks different, so you feel different. I honestly didn't think they looked that bad. I didn't think they looked bad at all. But he's mad about the way he looks, and he just seems like he's also in a bad mood because he's in pain. Yet he finds the time to ask the dental assistant for her number, which I'm not even completely convinced Donna is behind it as much as I'm convinced production is behind it. So they honestly, like I said, they didn't look bad, but when Melissa laughed at the way his teeth looked, it was hard to believe that she was even fake laughing. Like, she was laughing because she really thought this shit was funny. And I think that's when your feelings really get hurt. When somebody's really laughing at you like that. So Louis was in a shit mood after getting his teeth done. Bruh, I know the feeling. But don't take it out on people. And we don't care about that chick Donna had him meeting up at the bar with. Donna strikes me as the kind of person, it does not fucking matter who he brings home. She ain't gonna like her eventually. Moving on. Brittany and Andy. Shall you and your type be dismissed from this show forever? Okay? Anyway, I can't stand that. So Brittany is talking about how she went and used meth for a week. Like 7 to 10 days. That's what she lying. When she broke up with Andy. By the way, her English is fucking terrible. I mean, it's really giving Beverly Hillbillies. Okay? She sounds straight out of like Forrest Gump, straight, I can't. So I feel like she used to manipulate her family. Used drugs to manipulate her family into her moving back. And, they just want to save her from doing it again, this, that, and the other. No, I still don't think you're a good mother. And that is not something I normally say. I was always taught you don't say that about women. So you don't call anybody a bad mother. So if I say that, ever, let that out of my mouth, just know, I feel like you've given me a lot of reason to. And it's rare. I probably said it twice in my life. And you're the second, Brittany. Anyway, whether you pass the drug test or not, you're a narcissistic, selfish bitch. Okay? And we never saw your drug test results anyway. Andy and the kids meet him to fish. Andy and Brittany are clearly not together. They were never really together. They were phone buddies. They weren't even cut buddies. Anyway, so the daughter is not here for the bullshit. She was like, she knew it was BS. Yes. His poor kids know too much of his business, and now it's on TV. Thank you, Andy, for embarrassing your entire family. All right? I mean, she pressed him for the money for the sake of using meth. That's why she was really going in about that money. And she's just an ungrateful bitch. And every time you turn around, she's finding somebody to use. I can't stand people like that. The daughter was like, I hate to say it, but we told you so. And he admitted, yes, you did. I was like, I don't care about this whack-ass bitch meeting up with her best friend she used to use with. That's always a good way to recover. Although the friend had a lot more sense than she did. and offered her a job working at the gas station, saying they're looking for help. She said it's pretty easy work. And once again, you got to start somewhere. So as far as I'm concerned, Brittany is the kind of bitch don't want to work. She thinks she's too good to work. Because she said, yeah, but she didn't really mean that shit. That's why she's still trying to get money out of Andy. And you talking about control. He has a control problem and all this other shit. Then you shouldn't want to accept shit from him. You dumb hoe. Anyway, yeah. So fuck this bitch. She continues to talk about how she was tired of using. She's not. I don't care about his wife contacting her. Fuck Brittany. You don't care. You never liked Andy anyway. This was a convenient information. And shout out to Mary Jane's baby who had put that in the comments long ago anyway. Whatever. So Brittany, he has a wife. They've been communicating on Facebook. We don't care. All right. The son said he doesn't know anything. The daughter was like, well, you know, his former wife, I liked her. I liked her. The daughter was like, but they're not together. She was like, that she knows of. I caught that and I was here for it. All right. It doesn't matter though, because Brittany, you never liked him. You didn't want to be with him. So this is just a convenient way for you to continue to convince yourself and others on the TV, because that's what narcissists try to do, that nothing was wrong with the way you treated him. They're in the store. Her friend, they're going in there to get a care package. She wants to get a care package for her daughter who's going to college, which I think is good for her. Because hopefully that girl will get in school and find some good people to be around, find some people who will love her and support her, and who may have had similar experiences with their parents to the point where she can go and have a support system, because her mother is clearly not it. And I hate to say it like that, but she's not. So they're in the store. Her friend asked her at the register in front of everybody. Oh my gosh. She goes, do you have the money to pay for all that? I said, I'll be damned. I was like, damn, girl. In front of the clerks? You had to pull her whole card like that, but you did. Jeez. All right. So, Brittany, care packages, in case you didn't know, are full of stuff from like Target, Walmart, the grocery store. And now a care package is probably, if it is going to be something, typically it's probably going to be straight through Zelle and a straight transfer of cash. Then to ask Andy for a couple of $100s and insist he owes you, whether y'all are together or not, is some bold ass, trifling ass shit. And Andy, you dumb as hell for sending it to her. So he doesn't send the money immediately and claims he blocks and deletes this unknown number. Then she says, well, he didn't respond. Then goes on and says, he's a scammer, like I told you. But bitch, you're asking him for money. How did he scam you? See, this is what I mean. This stuff would be true under different circumstances, but it ain't true for you. And you're mad at him for not sending it. Bitch, you're the scammer. Okay? So then in the middle of her confessional, this hoe starts laughing, an evil laugh. You can tell what kind of chick she is. Because Andy's dumb ass sent her $200 on October 10, 2023. Y'all, that was less than a month ago. Okay. So, all right, let's do Chelsea and Mikey. All right. So Chelsea's, you know, we see her white kids along with Trevor. I mean, they're all her kids, but I'm just saying we hadn't seen the other two. They're a little hood. I ain't gonna lie. But you know, but they're kids. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. So Trevor, you know, he's a sweet little boy. Chelsea's friend comes to visit. Mikey was trying to give her son advice on how to avoid issues with the law. He got in some trouble. About 16 or so. Her son interrupts the conversation between Chelsea, Mikey, and the best friend who came over to ask for help with his homework. And I said, that was planned by the best friend. These kids are obviously going to try to protect their mother at any cost. And I get them playing along so the best friend can do that. But at that age, kids do not ask their parents really for help with their homework. Not even because their parents couldn't help them or don't want their help. It's because they don't want them to know the kind of homework they have, so they don't hold them accountable. But I'm just saying, but you know, once again, trying to protect their mother, which I appreciate. So the friend asked him about drug addiction. The best friend asked Mikey about drug addiction and abuse. He says, yes, I have. I've done that. And he said, I changed. The friend was still talking to him orally and in sign language. And I thought that was kind of cool, that she never got out of the space of doing sign language for Chelsea. And I noticed that, and I thought that was nice. So Chelsea is happy that the kids like him, but she's bothered that he keeps asking her about the money and how she got it. I don't want nobody asking me how I get my money either, but we'll get to that. So apparently Corey, her sons, P.O. called them on the way to some date that he had planned with them riding horses. And her son needs to be at the courthouse. So Chelsea is panicking. Obviously, she would. Her son was put on probation for petty theft. I guess maybe this was why she was away. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not here for a fucking 16-year-old putting their hand up a vending machine and being placed on probation. Okay? Yes, that is probably the pettiest of pettiest crimes. It could also be considered a goddamn prank. Okay, I know people have to get their money, but shit, the way inflation goes, they got their money with one bag of chips for all 8 of them. Like, cut it the fuck out. Everything cannot be criminalized, and I'm so tired of that shit. I'm tired. The government has created a society where everything is so goddamn punitive. And I'd be especially concerned for a black child, because you know if it can happen to white kids like this, it damn sure will happen to ours. But even if it wasn't, like, regardless of race, I'm just looking at this like, that's some dumbass shit to have a kid at 16 years old on probation for. Slap on the wrist, okay? I'm sorry. No, I don't think this leads to bigger crimes. I actually don't. Give me a fucking break. That annoyed the hell out of me. So Mikey, says, look, essentially that he wants to keep her out of trouble. Chelsea's able to get the judge to give him pay, but she was like, it wasn't what she thought. And I'm sure she doesn't want her kid to go to jail or end up in any trouble and that kind of thing. But they seem to be understanding. I don't think that would have happened if she would have gone in there for Trevor, though. Just saying. So Chelsea shows up to her and Mikey's date late, the one he sets up later. So no apology. She comes in no apology. Instead, she comes in a combative, okay? And mad at him because she's late. Girl, you gotta stop. Okay, so she said she was at her dad's house and she thinks he's been avoiding her because of Mikey. Probably he don't want them goddamn cameras in his face, but more because of Mikey. So Mikey asked her, like, do you trust me or whatever? And she says, yeah. But she says, with an attitude. But he says, I really need to know about the money because I leave tomorrow. And she's not telling him. Granted, I don't like to be questioned about where my money comes from either. So he gets up and he's going to leave because she has an attitude about it. She then points out to him as he's getting up to leave that people are looking at them. And he was like, I don't care. And honestly, let me tell you something. And I have had people in my life that had to learn this the hard way because I do not fucking play about this shit. That is embarrassing to have an argument in public. Raising, and I don't mean like we're disagreeing at the table. People who raise their voice in public, let me tell you something. That is the height of Trey Day Class A. Outside of hitting somebody and throwing a drink. Okay? Don't do that shit. I was taught arguments are to be had in private, not publicly for a show. It means you're uncouth. And I stand by that even now as an adult. Okay? I don't like it. All right? And for somebody to get up and leave, and I've been there. I had a former homegirl who did that on the restaurant over some bullshit. I was like, what? But it turns out she was jealous because she had made some comments to me before about, well, I wish, my life was more like yours and I had it together. But people say that kind of stuff and you just like, what are you talking about? You're doing fine. Or you can, do this. But when somebody starts competing with you in that way, they do shit like that and I don't do that no more. I don't have people like that in my life. Anyway, nevertheless, people could have been looking for several reasons. On top of the fact y'all having an argument, he gets up to leave because I didn't really think his getting up to leave was that dramatic that everybody should have been staring. But it might have something to do with the microphones and all them cameras around was going to draw attention anyway. Nevertheless, she points down to the chair like he's a child. And he sits down. People are snickering in the back, including the server. That shit was funny to me. I mean, how are you supposed to not laugh? Okay, so anyway. So now how is their server even actually supposed to go over there and check on them? And ask what they need with a straight face. Like, and pretend like they didn't see what they saw. Like, miss me. So anyway, she tells him she got the money from her mom's life insurance policy. And Mikey said, look, I was just wondering if you were selling drugs or doing something that could get you sent away. And Chelsea was like, what? Honestly, I was like, huh? Chelsea ain't no criminal. You probably the closest she's been to crime. I would have thought she was selling off things. I would have actually, my first thought would have been like she was selling off things she couldn't get back, like jewelry or something like that. And maybe, she shouldn't have been sacrificing those kind of things like Joy Nomi did. Or maybe she was selling stuff from her father's, Fred Sanford's, junkyard. Anyway, so she asked him, I want you to move to Ohio. This is, her decision or whatever. So he talks about how he is afraid to move to Ohio because of Hadley. He was like, remember how sad you were when you came to visit me and you were away from your kids? But he decides to move anyway. And my thing is, you've been away from your daughter in prison from 4 to 8, and those are critical years. All right, and that's when they say you really need to have that foundation with your kid in terms of morals, behavior, that kind of thing. And it's not that they don't continue to learn, but that age is very important. I would say that right to about 11, because if you can't get a handle on that by then, I'm sorry, it doesn't usually pan out well. And my thing is, Mikey, you've gotten used to the mother of your child taking on the job of raising her, and you having little responsibility. I know you love Chelsea, you like Chelsea, you care about Chelsea, but you have to make sacrifices for your child. They didn't ask to be here. That little girl did not ask to be here. And Chelsea's not willing to leave her children. She wants you to move there. And what's Hadley supposed to do? Just drive to Ohio on the weekends? That's not fair. And sometimes, yes, you have to make a sacrifice. I love this woman, but at the same time, my kid comes first. Children don't ask to be here. It's not fair. It's not fair. And, you know, it is what it is. So, Joinomi and Red. I don't mean to laugh, but this shit is just wild. So, Joy, take your ass home to New Mexico. That's what I was thinking, but you know she didn't do it the way I wanted her to do it. Red is calling her, asking her to come back. And even though she said he's been calling her all night and leaving voicemails, was it me or did it seem like she was playing the same voicemail over and over again? Like, nothing about it changed. Like, even somebody's voice sometimes will change, or they'll be like, I'm calling you again. Like, it just sounds like she was playing the same voicemail. But, okay, girl. And the way she cries, those sorrowful cries, it really is giving depressed. Like, something's wrong. And even if Red wasn't in the picture, I feel like something would still be wrong. It seems like she just wants a father for her child. Baby, that is a road to destruction. You've been doing just fine on your own. And if you weren't sending Red money, you'd also probably have plenty put away for your son's education later. Do better. Do better. Do better. All right? And unless he's a good man that you know, not from over the phone for 7 years, I don't give a damn how long it was, not over the phone, don't have that man around your child. Gosh, y'all, come on. There's been just too many stories and examples of how that goes left. Even if it's hard for you, like I told Sheree, even if it's hard for you in private, work through it for you, which may be tough. I know it's easier said than done. But it's better than having just any motherfucker around your kid. And at this point, he's still a any motherfucker. All right? So, Joy Nomi goes back to pick up Red, who has fucked another chick within the last 48 hours. I want her to quit projecting her bullshit onto her son. He's 4. You made Red a part of his life. He could have been an invisible friend for all this little boy knows, and if he would have been better off, shit, you could have made him disappear more often. Anyway, so we get that, right? Red is talking about how excited he is to go home. Home is his sanctuary. I said, bruh, you have never even been in New Mexico with tumbleweeds and cactuses. Cut it out. So then instead of getting their ass on the road, they stop at a rage room. Isn't her money a little tight? Or am I getting her mixed up with Chelsea? But whatever it is, that kind of stuff is kind of an expensive sort of day trip. So they decide they're going to do that instead of getting their ass on the road home, okay? They're talking all that crazy shit about this was for the prison in the 20s. This person who got her pregnant. And Joy Nomi throwing stuff and crying, which we see she does a lot. They're supposed to move on from there, though he hasn't told her about the other chick because he knows that she would leave him for it, but y'all are starting over. I can't with this foolishness. So I probably won't be doing Life After Lockup. I'll be watching, but I probably won't be reviewing it. But thank y'all, and I'll see y'all later for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Bye.